I'm here back with power to lift up your spirit. This is the Ricable Invictus speaker reference Mark II. This is the Mark II of the mighty Invictus speaker cable that we reviewed on Audiophile-Heaven. It comes with this thick gouge, high quality construction, and this gray color. The company allows you to customize the length, color, and connectors you need for your system. We have gotten this with those banana connectors. Don't even know if this is the correct banana because a lot of them are called banana, but you may notice that they clink a lot. The reason for that is that those connectors are made to be secured once you install them in your speakers. You screw in those connectors, which makes the banana inside expand a bit, which keeps them very securely and tightly connected to your speakers. This is also supposed to have an effect on the sound and to improve the sonic reproduction of your speakers, which is interesting to say the least. You see, when they are secure, they don't clink almost at all. Those are directional cables. You can see the direction on this thicker connector here. It comes with the direction. They are not the most bendy types. If you can see, it is very hard to bend this cable. So you may need to purchase a longer length than you typically require with cables because you won't be able to do hard bends. Like 90 degrees, no go. You need to make sure that this is the tightest bend you can go. You see, this is the tightest. You can't really bend them much tighter. This cable has increased in pricing compared to the Invictus speaker reference. The original reference was $1,518 US, while this one is $700 and about 12 US if the conversion rate is correct when I'm filming the video review. I'm holding just one because one is connected to the speaker in the back. I wanted you to see how it connects to the speaker. If your speaker is somewhat tall or placed somewhere tall, you may need to take into account that the cable will be pulling on the speaker connectors. I'm expecting most speaker connectors to break before the cable connectors, and Ricable expects this too. This is why they offer a lifetime warranty on their Invictus speaker reference cables. Besides the lifetime warranty, you also have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, which sounds like a marketing term, but the idea is that if you are not fully satisfied, and I mean fully, you can return the cable and get your money back. While we explored most important aspects of the cable in the original Invictus speaker reference video review, we can now explore the differences between them because the new Mark II brings many improvements and yet it keeps the strengths of the original. Starting with the sound, and we'll probably end with the sound because the construction quality is pretty much the same, not internally but externally. So we speak a lot about the internal construction in the full written review. I highly suggest that you read the full written review if you want to get the technical aspect of the cable and the copper geometry inside and how the company implements it. Sonically, the new one kept the highly dynamic response of the original. It kept the highly resolving character of the original, but improves it with a slightly better bass impact. So the bass is now a bit punchier. There is a bit more bass. You get a slightly quicker bass. Not necessarily more body, but more punch, more volume. The bass is able to move a bit quicker. It can move a bit more volume. So there is more bass, quicker bass, both of which are desirable in a highly resolving system. We get a somewhat punchy treble too. So the treble did not relax. In fact, it actually increased in energy, punchiness, and resolution. You get a better air representation, although that air is a bit smoother now. So while on the original, the treble presentation was a bit on the slightly smoother side, on the new one, it's more organic. The upper mid-range in particular is better represented, so female voices, emotional music, pianos and violins have a bit more body to them, they sound more natural, while male voices and lower pitched instruments, for example a bass guitar or lower sounding instruments, are actually slightly less represented than the original speaker Invictus reference. This one you could say sounds a tiny bit brighter. In terms of brightness, this doesn't make it a bright cable. It is one of the most transparent and yet fullest sounding cables out there. It has all of the body, the power and the strength you may need. The Ricable cables are handmade in Italy. They have the same build quality that we've seen on the other Ricable cables that we've reviewed. I'm a really big fan of their works. So I have never received comment from someone who purchased a Ricable cable who was not happy with this purchase, which is surprising because it is a very expensive cable, but every single person satisfied, that's exceptional. It's like this cable really touched the right people when they got it. Besides the build quality and the information I gave you about the sound, the texture of the new Mark II from speaker Invictus reference is actually a bit more organic, which means that you can expect a slightly fuller texture. For example, most instruments have a slightly increased thickness in the body of the instrument. This creates better the perception that the instrument is real and playing inside of your room. I have made this comment on every single Invictus line cables, but it's like going from the IPS or a VA monitor to an OLED display. Everything just pops up quite a bit more. You hear the contrast between elements and between instruments much more than when you have just your standard cables. Most cables don't have this effect actually. It is an effect I have noticed only with the reference Invictus series from Ricable. Only this cable has that effect. Not every single cable does it. So while it is quite a bit pricey, it is a cable made for high-end systems, I can agree that my system doesn't justify its purchase. For example, I have the Pylon Audio Diamond 30 Mark II, I have the KCS S300 Plus, I also have the EC Designs Power DAC S6 for powering those speakers. So that setup is around $5,000 and purchasing a $2,000 cable for that system doesn't feel justified from a value perspective. That being said, if you have a $10,000 setup, I would totally purchase a high-end cable, because when you invest so much in a system, you really want the best for that system. You really want to get the best experience out of that system. When you spend that much on a system, you really want to get the best out of that system. And Ricable is actually the company that will offer it. This is the company, this Ricable. On the other hand, if you need affordable cables, there are many other companies. Ricable is typically playing in the high-end field or even end-game field. Once you get a Ricable Invictus speaker reference, there isn't really an upgrade to be made in any other cable. This is because I did a fun test with some friends where we each brought our highest end cable and we put them on a pair of speakers. It was a high-end focal monitor. And in that test, everyone agreed that the Ricable speaker Invictus reference sounded the most engaging, most vivid, most revealing, and had the highest level of contrast, all of which are highly desirable characteristics for a speaker cable. At the end of the day, if you are looking for what we have managed to figure was the best sounding speaker cable to date, I highly recommend the Ricable Invictus speaker reference. I also highly suggest that you subscribe to the channel, like this video. It would mean so much to me if you could do that. We cover many things here, from portables to high-end stuff. And if you are looking for a fun experience with audio, I hope that you are having one right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope we'll see each other really soon. Bye bye!